zone. He's got Simpkins caught in for the touchdown. Deshaun Simpkins with the snag.
Looking left to Sims Marshall. Home run down for Jalen Marshall. He's got a touchdown. Sims.
Towards the end zone, he's got Simpkins caught in for the touchdown. Deshaun Simpkins with the snag.
Looking left to Sims Marshall. Home run down for Jalen Marshall. He's got a touchdown.
Hello and welcome to Robinson Field in Ross, Ohio. It's the Battle of the Rams, and this is the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week. I'm Reed Mouse in the barn with the All-American Tony Pike. And you won't have to look too far in Cincinnati area for a rivalry with this kind of vitriol, as we are just moments away from kickoff. Tony, what excites you most about this one?
I think everything about this game is what's great about high school football, especially in Cincinnati, especially in Ohio, because you have these two teams where most of these kids playing tonight grow up with each other. They grow up on the same team, or they grow up playing against each other, and there's that built-in rivalry. And then you get to high school and you split and you go your separate ways, and you want nothing more than to beat those guys on the other sideline. So this is what makes this sport great, is nights like this on a beautiful night as well.
Back to receive the kick for the Badin Rams, Braden Moore and Aiden Brown, as it is a capacity crowd here at Robinson Field.
We shouldn't wait long to add in that Braden Moore will be attending the University of Cincinnati.
Absolutely not. He will be following in the footsteps as the the All-American.
Well, Great American too, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No Willie in the booth tonight. The kick is going to be squibbed out to the middle of the field. There to recover, it's going to be Dominic Pate, and Badin will take over at the 36-yard line. And we mentioned number 29 for the Badin Rams out there in white, Aiden Brown. Anyone familiar with these two programs know that Aiden played quarterback for the Ross Rams a season ago, has then transferred over in his junior year, and has supplemented the Badin Rams well in their 4-0 start to the season.
You don't think the Ross defenders know about that at all, do you?
Not at all.
They're a little excited to come out tonight.
Will take the snap in shotgun formation, rolling out to his left. It's going to be a wildcat, and he's through the line of scrimmage, out for a 7-yard run.
For Ross to be able to stay into this game against a very, very good Badin team, they need to rely on their best playmakers. Bryson Baston, Josh Potts up the middle. Those two guys, who combined for almost 180 tackles last year, have to be excellent tonight. If you want to win these games where you might not have as much talent, your best players have to be elite.
So now we're going to see Alex Ritzie and Carter Russo in the backfield for the Badin Rams. Ritzie, the starting QB, one-step drop, finds his man for the first down at midfield. That's Austin Buckle on the catch.
You mentioned the Ritzie story, to come in last year in the playoffs, down 2 scores, and to be able to bring your team back in a game that you eventually win. You can't make up that type of experience at any level, and for them to have that and now to come back and still be pretty fresh into his career is a pretty amazing story.
Ritzie hands the ball off to Carter Russo, met at the line of scrimmage by number 11, Robbie Reiners. And Reiners will have him down at 2nd and 10. Reiners, part of that linebacking crew that has been so good for Ross through the early parts of this season.
Just flying to the ball against a team like this, an offense like Badin that's explosive, you've got to trust what you see. So when you see the ball carrier, you've got to make a move. If you're hesitant, that's 5 or 6 yards down the field.
4 wide for the Rams. They look over to the sideline. Nick Yorty, Steve Malone calling plays for the Badin Rams. Russo to Ritzie's right. He takes the snap, looking off to his left, finds Braden Moore, the future UC Bearcat. He's going to be down for a gain of 1, 3rd and 9, just across midfield. And Ross looking to get a stop here in the early goings.
Just great reaction time. The last 2 plays that have forced this 3rd and long have just been Ross reacting really well defensively. And you know going into this game, when the ball's going to Braden Moore, you need to gang tackle. You need to get multiple bodies. And that time they did. 2 different Ross Rams bring them down and set up a 3rd and long.
3rd and 8, 4 wide for the Rams. Out on the left hash mark, they're on the 48-yard line. Ritzy rolling out to his right, cocks back, finds his man out in the open, and it's a gang tackle short of the first down. Quinn Brennan on the catch, but short of that first down.
There, if you're Alex Ritzy, if you just get the ball out a little bit quicker, you probably have an opportunity to get your guy the first down. But knowing it's 3rd and long, he started that read downfield. By the time you work back, that Ross secondary was able to rally and make a play and force a punt.
So out to punt are the Rams. Audible into traditional punt formation. Maurice Anzalone back to punt the ball. His older brother, Rocky, a punter at the University of Dayton. As this one is up, end over end, he'll get a great bounce, and it will end up right around the 10-yard line. So Reese Anzalone doing a good job on the short field work, pinning Ross inside of the 10, but regardless, the Rams in maroon and gold get a stop on the first drive.
Couldn't ask for anything better to come out than force a punt from this Badin offense. And now, as we talked about in the pregame show, if you're Ross, it's not about that explosive 70-yard play. It's about 4 or 5 yards, keep the clock rolling, try to wear down this Badin defense on still, for this far in September, a hot night to where you hope that pays off for you in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
And here is something new for Ross fans. Shotgun formation for the Rams, as Riley Caldwell will hand the ball off to number 18, Ashlyn Schmidt. As Schmidt takes it for just past the first down marker. And there it is. We mentioned it. They've been a triple option team for years. And I talked to Coach Kenyon Cummins before the game. He said we might throw some new wrinkles at this Badin defense. Badin in a 4-4 stack defensively, as they're going to put another man on the line. 5. There's the handoff to Schmidt. Same play to the other side. A gang tackle capitalized by number 42, Nate Ostendorf.
Well, there you see right there the quick adjustment from Badin to say, okay, if you're going to go gun, we're going to put another man on the line of scrimmage. And then that takes away that triple option read away from the backers and allows them to just flow a little bit easier and a little bit more free to the tackle, as you saw there.
There's that traditional flex bone offense. Hand it off to the fullback, fakes it and keeps it himself as Riley Caldwell, a gain of 1 yard. You know, this Ross team, they were in the regional championship 2 seasons ago, had a very talented team. Last year had a very resilient team, a lot of fight to the squad. I talked to Coach Cummins on what the vibe was about this team, and he said our resiliency.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the, everything that they went through in the offseason to get to the point where they're at now.
You can bring 15 guys back from a 7-3 team. You expect to take the next step as a program.
Caldwell keeps it himself, doesn't give it off to the fullback, and he'll be gang tackled in the backfield. Couldn't see who was on that one. It looks like it was number 4, Drew Enninger. And it'll be 4th and long, and this team will come out to punt. But going back to the adversity that this Ross program has faced, they lose one of their best players in Aiden Brown, who comes over to Badin, go to the rival, and then a few days later, they fail to pass a levy as a community, which forces each player on the team to then have to pay $800+ to play the program. Talking to Coach Cummins, he said they lost 18 guys just because of that levy. Low snap, punt is off, and it rolls past as it gets a fantastic roll on the Robinson Field turf all the way into the 30. It landed before midfield.
That's just, and it's crazy to think about for this program to then have to go back and ask players and those families to say, hey, this is what we need. And to lose that amount coming back and to lose all those players before the season gets started, and you lose Aiden Brown, that's that next man up mentality that they've preached here at Ross for years now, but it's never really, I think, shown itself more evident as to what they have now. That next man in, is what this program is fighting through. And oh, by the way, you got to go up to Division II as well.
Absolutely. As the Badin Rams take over on the 29-yard line, they hand the ball off to Carter Russo. A gain of 3 yards. And going one last piece about that levy failing and then losing. You know, Coach Cummins says he keeps around typically 75 players in the roster. They're down to 56. And he said it's not the key players that we lost.
Right.
It's the depth.
Yep.
You know, all the players that are started, they're going to come back out. It's the guys that, you know, you want to develop into good players someday, and that depth, those sophomores that don't want to be tackling dummies. 2nd and 5 for the Rams. Ritzy over on the left hash mark. Finds his man Quinn Brennan as his pass was almost picked off. Number 2, Carson Adams, was right there on the play.
Really good by Ritzy just to get the ball out quick. That allowed that pass to be completed. But you mentioned what Ross is going through is essentially what Badin is doing. You lose all those guys, 15 starters from last year who go to the state championship game. And what are they doing? Right now, the best team in the state of Ohio in that division. So that's what Coach Cummins is missing now, is the ability to develop these young guys to take the next step when needed. That's what Badin has done and excelled at on their sideline, and that's why they're in the position they are right now.
Trips package to the right side of the field. They get the ball to Aiden Brown on the screen. He is tackled by 3 Ross Rams. And a little chip after the play. A gain of about a yard. Ball's across midfield at the 49-yard line. You mentioned it, though. 8 starters on offense, 7 on defense for this Badin squad. They were just a few plays away from winning a state championship a season ago. One of the players that did get some time last year was number 1, the starting running back, Carter Russo. In fact, he got 1 rush last year in the state championship. It was a touchdown.
He made the most of it.
Right.
It's not a bad stat line to have.
1 for 1. That's efficiency. Alex Ritzy on the pump fake. Then the deep pass. He's got his man open. Oh, baby, 6-0 with 4:35 to go in the first. Ritzy connecting with Austin Buckle. The Badin Rams on top here early.
Well, what has Badin done throughout their first 2 possessions? Catch the ball, get it out of your hands quick. And it has resulted in Ross coming up so quick to gang tackle that time they just delay it a little bit, allow the receiver to get downfield, and then Ritzy shows off an arm that has a lot of people excited in this Badin football program. It's so well done from the standpoint of what you've done to that point. You have lulled a defense, not to sleep, but you're making them come up and play quick, and then you just run right by them and deliver a great pass.
7-0 after the PAT is up and through the uprights. 4:35 to go in this first quarter. The Badin Rams on top here early, and it's just looking at the crowd. It is a capacity crowd all the way here. Talking to the athletic director, Justin Beck, he said pre-sale was at 2,500 tickets. And if you saw these stands, I don't think there's 2,500 seats here, as they are just shoulder to shoulder around the field.
Shoulder, and that's what you said, the fence line around the field. The bleachers are completely full, but there's not an open spot walking or looking around this fence line of those lined up to watch this game as well. It is really a picture-perfect night. It's a game in between 2 teams that there's no love lost between them. But again, as I said in the open, I think it's so unique, the fact that you have this game where all of these players, or so many of these players, grow up together, and now they're out here competing against each other on a Friday night.
Reminds you a little bit of what's going down in Wyoming today. That's the Reading-Wyoming game, a big rivalry.
Funny you ask, yes.
Big rivalry.
Battle of 2 4-0 teams.
Right, absolutely.
Reading a new coach this year, changed their system. Trying to get you talk about Ross trying to get their numbers back. Reading's trying to get the numbers that Cody Reardon was able to really get. He leaves to become the offensive coordinator at Indian Hill. The numbers for Reading go down, but the great equalizer in sports, if you win, people are going to want to come be a part of it. So Reading just has to keep winning, but they have a very tough challenge ahead of them tonight in Wyoming.
I will tell you, we've got a bad case of picking schools because every press box we are faces west.
Yes.
Don't they know you're supposed to face east?
Yeah, what are we doing? We're right into the sun.
The kick is up. Riley Caldwell's going to return it in the end zone, and it will be a touchback. Ross will take over with 4:35 to go in the first quarter.
If you're Ross, you've got to get back to what you do. First down on the first run of the game, and then a quick 3 and out puts the ball right back to this Badin offense. The last thing you can do here is a 3-and-out and allow that Badin high-powered offense to get back on the field.
So this is where Ross is going to try and knot the game up. 1 score apiece. Riley Caldwell under center, typical flex bone formation. No one's going to be in motion. Caldwell's going to keep it himself after the fake pitch, rolling out to his right. We mentioned that Ross team that went to the regional championship a few years ago. C.J. Bowes, a 3-sport athlete under center. Jackson Gifford, a 1,000-yard rusher for 3 consecutive years for this Ross team. Now both doing it up in college. Jackson Gifford at Ohio Wesleyan University. And it is quiet over here on the Ross side, as with their team having the ball, they want full and complete silence. The handoff to the fullback is going to be met at the line. It's going to be 3rd and long.
It's what we've talked about, though. It's so hard, and it's why you respect the programs around the area that do it year in and year out, because you're going to graduate a lot of really good players, and your numbers might be down, but the coaches and the teams that can find a way every single year to be relevant, to be in the running for a state championship, it makes you appreciate that much more the job that's done at the high school level. By coaches that aren't getting $500,000 or $1 million to do this.
Trips package to the open side of the field, ball out on the right hash mark. Caldwell's going to QB draw it himself, took a 3-step drop, then found a hole, but was immediately gobbled up by this Ross defense. It's going to be 4th down, and the punt unit's going to have to come out.
Worst case scenario, right? A quick 3-and-out. Now your defense, who just got beat down the field, has to come back against an offense that's feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
So the punt unit will come out. Caldwell, the punter. 4th and long. The 2 returnmen for the Badin Rams with their heels around the 50-yard line. Low lining kick. Hits right at the 46-yard line, Ross's own 46-yard line, but it gets another good bounce. It's across midfield, and that's where Badin is going to take over. So this Badin team, 26-1 since week 3 of 2019.
Is that good?
In the regular season. Can't get much better. There's only one way you can get better, and that's going 27-0. 35-4 over that time. A trip to the regional championship and 2 perfect regular seasons. Trip to the state championship. First time they've been number 1 in the AP poll for quite some time, as the week came out and Chardon, who was previously number 1, fell off, so Badin hops on top of them. 4 wide for Ritzy. Ball out on the left hash mark. Russo to Ritzy's left, fakes the handoff. Ritzy takes it himself. He's got some room to work with, just short of the 1st down after the 8-yard carry.
We saw a little bit about what this made this team so good last year with Vitterick. The ability of the quarterback to keep it at any time and make that explosive play. You saw there Badin using that check with me system where they line up quick, fake a snap, simulate a snap, see what the defense does, because you might get a linebacker to take a step, the safety might lean, and then from the sideline you check into a different play. So it does give you a great option to really get in the best play possible.
So here's the handoff to Carter Russo. He's met at the line of scrimmage, but he moves forward for the 1st down. They'll move the chains. Alex Ritzy, the starting quarterback in his 1st year as the full-time starter. His dad was a prominent football player for the Fairfield Indians back in the day.
About what it does to a confidence for a sophomore to go into a state playoff game with your team trailing and bring them back and win the game. And then you get 2 more years to come and play.
And then you come back and win the state semifinal game and put your team in a chance to win in the state championship. 1st and 10, Ritzy dropping back. He's looking for Quinn Brennan. He's out in open space. A stiff arm is ill-fated, but he's brought down at the 34-yard line. A move of the chains. Badin's offense rolling.
And there's the problem, right? Braden Moore is going to get all the attention. He's going to run right down the field, and the defense has to make a choice. Do you send Moore to help, which then vacates the short to intermediate area? You can read that out, make the throw, yards after the catch, and then when you decide to play it more aggressive, they've already shown the ability to beat you over the top.
Man to Ritzy's left. That is Zach Yorty, the son of Badin's head coach, Nick Yorty, a sophomore. Mark that, a junior for the squad. Fakes the handoff to Yordi. He picks up a block. Ritzy finds Aiden Brown. He loses one defender, a stiff arm, and a gang tackle. And there's going to be a flag thrown at the spot of the foul. At the spot of the tackle, rather. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. It's going to be called on the Rams, it looks like.
Yeah,
I guess I got to be more specific, the Badin Rams.
You've seen the aggressiveness anytime Aiden Brown touches the ball. And that time he gets it a little bit too aggressive. It looked like a face mask. Going to add more to the end of that run and set up Badin, who, with right now Ritzy in such a rhythm, you've got to do something if you're Ross, because the protection has been so great. You got to find a way to get him off level a little bit here.
Yeah, we figured there might be a little bit of chippiness between AB and his former school. A handoff to Zach Yordi off the left tackle, a gain of 3 yards, 2nd and 7 here as there's under 30 seconds to go. There's a ball on the ground, and it looking like Ross is wanting the fumble. The refs, I believe, are calling it on the ground. They can't believe it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from the replay, but anytime a defense reacts like that, you almost wonder if the refs are going to get a lean to one way or the other.
So with the final second of the first quarter ticking off, it's 7-0 here at Robinson Field, and Ross will switch to the other side of the field. Reed Mouse in the booth with Tony Pike. Stay tuned. You're watching the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week.
Our fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore.
If your AC or furnace is struggling, turn to the experts at Bartels Heating and Cooling. Their certified technicians get the job done right the first time. And if you need a new unit, Bartels will give you upfront pricing with no hidden fees. Plus, ask about Bartels 0% interest financing for 60 months. Learn more at bartelsheatingandcooling.com. Bartels Heating and Cooling, for a comfortable way of Welcome back to Ross, Ohio. Reed Mouse joined along here with Tony Pike. It's 7-0. The Badin Rams on top of the Ross Rams, and they're on the doorstep of another score. The number one team in the state battling off against their rival. This will be the 19th time that the two teams have faced each other in the history. Badin has won 17 of 18 previous matchups. And we mentioned this on the broadcast, the game day. The one time that Ross did beat Badin, it was Chatterbox Sports' first ever broadcast.
How about that? This is a Ross team right now that's on their heels.
Yeah.
The offense for Badin, everything's clicking because they're getting to prioritize what the defense does. If you want to load the box, they're going to take the quick hitter. If you want to come up on those quick hitters, they're going to beat you over the top. If you want to put more defenders to the passing game, they're going to collapse the line and go get 4 yards in a rush. So really at the mercy right now of this Badin offense. You're going to need a big defensive play from Ross to change this momentum.
2nd and 7. Russo to Ritzy's left. Caden Starks, and there is a slot back. It's a shovel pass to Braden Moore as he just bullies his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Badin Rams, the future UC Bearcat, stomping for 6.
You can see why UC is excited to get Braden Moore on campus. You give that type of athlete a ball in space, and he's going to do the rest himself. Good blocking at the line. Let him get to the second level, and Braden Moore is going to do some damage.
Braden Moore is going to be the first Badin Ram to go to the University of Cincinnati for football since, and you know this guy, Patrick Coyne.
Yeah.
The owner of Black Sheep.
Yeah, he's doing very well right now.
Yes, he is. He's a transfer from LaSalle back in the day and then came to Badin and made his way to the UC Bearcats. Took over. That was after your time.
Very highly touted recruit coming in as a quarterback. Moved him around a couple different positions. A great player. And what he's done after his time at UC of from the high school, college. It's Joe Burrow's going there in the offseason. I mean, he's got the
You are
speed,
as well.
quickness, agility training. Well, yeah, that's where you never know when one of those calls will come in, Reed.
Right.
You've got to stay ready at all times. I know there's teams out there looking
Chase
for
Daniel,
quarterbacks.
right?
Chase Daniel, probably one of the nicest handoffs you'll ever see last night in the game when he came in there for Justin Herbert, who I have no idea how he made a 50-yard throw after being unable to walk, but that's neither here nor there because perhaps someone won a bet on the game and someone lost a bet on the game.
No gambling on this broadcast. So back to receive the kick for Ross will be number 15, Riley Caldwell, and number 18, Ashlyn Schmidt.
Anytime you run an offensive style like Ross does, you're constantly looking at that scoreboard because 3-4 touchdowns, you get out of that mindset of winning the game and you're just trying to survive in the game.
Yeah, when you find yourself down a couple of scores running the triple option, you put yourself in a bad spot. You stick to the game plan, you keep trying to figure out what works. But at some point when you're running into a brick wall, you're down 3 scores. It's not the offense most copacetic with a comeback.
I was talking to UC defensive coordinator Mike Tressel last week. Kennesaw State came in, and a lot of people think Kennesaw State, they had gone 60-plus games of running the ball for 150-plus yards. And they run a very similar style to what Ross does. That's Mike Tressel. He said the edge. If you've got 2 guys that can set the edge successfully, then you can have success against this type of offense.
Fakes the handoff. That is Jay Warren on the keeper. He faked it to Riley Caldwell. Jay Warren, and we're talking about the adversity that this Ross team has faced. Jay Warren.
Yeah, Badin pointing like they have the ball. It looks like it's still Ross here.
It's going to be 2nd and 4, but Aiden Brown, who's the starting quarterback, transfers to Badin. Jay Warren steps in as a guy who might fill in that quarterback position. Well, they go to the first scrimmage. 5 plays in, he breaks his wrist.
Yeah.
And he's been carrying the ball with a broken cast, but he hasn't been able to play quarterback, go under center, take those snaps ever since then. This is his first game off the cast, and he's now under center on their 3rd drive of the ball game. Shotgun formation, pistol that is. Speed option, this time flips it to Riley Caldwell there on the play, number 4, Drew Enninger.
And there you have, that's just what I was talking about with setting the edge, whether that's the defensive end, a linebacker, a corner. When you set the edge successfully, you force that ball carrier to turn upfield, stop their momentum, and then you rely on your pursuit from the linebacker and defensive line level. So far to this point, it's been brilliantly done by Badin.
When you face a triple option offense, you talk to defenses, they say the same phrase. We got to play, responsibility football. And basically, what that means is you got a guy and you've got to stick to him.
Yes.
You can't fall into the misdirection. Caldwell taking it himself, shaking past Caden Starks. There's going to be a flag thrown in the backfield short of the first down are the Ross Rams, but just by a yard. Based on the flag being in the backfield, you got to think that's a holding.
Yeah.
So Badin will back up the Ross Rams, won't even let them go for that 4th and 1. So we'll take you on 3rd and very long.
I grew up in the same time as the Dominic Goodman-led Colerain Cardinal triple option offense. And 10 guys could do their job, and if one guy doesn't, they're going to find it, they're going to exploit it, and they're going to have explosive plays. And that's the frustrating part. And as we talked about, when you do that successfully, if you flip the script, if it's Ross that has the 2-score lead and they're running this style offense, on the other sideline you start saying, well, we're only going to get 5 or 6 more possessions.
Sure.
And then you make plays that are out of the ordinary, a little unorthodox. You try to fit a ball in down the field and it ends up being an interception. So it has its positives just as it can have its negatives.
Or why there's going to look like a timeout called. This will be a timeout called by Ross. 9:40 to go in the half. And you mentioned Colerain with that great triple option. One mistake that people often think about the triple option. They think it's a bulldozing offense.
Yeah.
They think, hey, we got the big hog mollies on the line. We're going to bully you to those first down. That's not it at all. There's a reason that the military schools that can't recruit those big offensive linemen run it. It's actually an offensive misdirection.
Yeah, it's a misdirection, and it's a skill offense.
Right.
I mean, it is the reads and the time at which you have to make those reads are a split second each and every play. And I remember that Coleraine team, Mr. Simpson was their fullback, so you have a guy that can just barge ahead and get you 4 or 5, and the second you smash down on him, a guy like Dominic Goodman pulls it, and then you're off to the races. So it is it's an offense, and you think at the high school level now, what are a majority of teams running? Spread, shotgun. All of a sudden you play an offense like this, you've got 3 days of practice, 2 full days of practice to try to get all of that in when you're normally seeing this shotgun or spread. So it has its advantages there because it's such a unique offense that you have to go against in only a couple days to prepare.
That's why those military schools don't do great on week 1 more often than not. Third and very long, 3 wide. Riley Caldwell rolling out to his left. He's going to have to scramble. 3 Badin Rams on him now, and they gobbled him up inside the 10-yard line. Ross dropping back to pass for the first time in the ball game and paying for it. 4th and forever, and the punt unit trots on out.
It's the body language right now of Ross that needs to change. Their quarterback just got sacked. No one helped him up. He got up on his own. You've got to change your body language to get yourself back into this game right now. I
talked to Coach Cummins about this team, and one thing he said is they took it one on the chin against Valley View a couple weeks ago. I think it was 35-0. He said our body language was terrible.
Yeah.
And that's something that they've worked on for the past 2 weeks. High snap. Punt is barely going to get off. No one's going to return it. They're going to let it stop out at the 34-yard line. And Badin take it over in fantastic field position. 8:48 to go in the half. They're already up 14-0.
You mentioned a lot of those military schools and the style that they run.
Yeah.
Teams now during training camp in the summer will practice that stuff because 1 week is just not enough to get ready, especially if you're a team that loses veterans that have played against it and it's your first go-around. It's so unique, and those schools do it so well that you have to set aside time, even if it's week 3, week 4, week 5, that you can say, we need to visit this now and understand what our responsibilities are going to be.
1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Aiden Brown under center for the Badin Rams. Carter Russo to his left. We saw this from the first snap of the game. Fakes the handoff to both Braden Moore and Carter Russo, lead blocking. A gain of 2. An isolation play there for the newcomer to the team. And now Aiden Brown, a transfer. I believe this is going to be his last game of the season. You're only allowed playing half the year. It used to be you could play the back half of the season, and they realized for playoff purposes that's probably not the best. So they flipped the script. Now you play the first 5. 4 wide. Ritzy under center, looking out to his right. Quinn Brennan's going to have to fall down on the ground. Flag thrown in the backfield. It looks like that one's not going to move forward. Quinn Brennan's been a target for Ritzy here at the beginning of this ball game. Cummins coming out, talking to his team, and did say that this defense is the pride of this squad, and finally they're going to catch a break as that penalty is going to push them behind midfield. It's going to be seconds and quite a ways.
Well said. Just quite a ways. No, I mean, I'm just a Reading guy.
Wasn't going to do the math. I think it's 26
I'm a Reading
yards.
Guy. Badin has done such a good job to this point of just taking what the defense gives you. If they're going to play 8 yards off, take the hitch every single time until they come up and change it.
Screen play. This one's for B. Moore. One man to block in front of him, and look at him turn on the Jets. A stiff arm, but being brought down by number 1, Jack Hansel. And B. Moore was 1 man away from 6. It's going to be from 2nd and 26 to 3rd and 1.
Such a great play design. All of the action goes right. Braden Moore slips back to the left, and well blocked, but you can see what separates himself from a lot of guys in the state of Ohio. That burst that he was able to show there. 8th ranked senior in Ohio, I believe, right now. He did it on defense last year with 7 interceptions.
So here's the handoff to Carter Russo. It's going to be close to a first down. Nick Yordi on the far sideline, marching it off, looking for it himself. I think they're going to move the chains, and yes, they will.
You know, almost looks like Russo was tackled, but his body never hit the ground, and he was kind of pushed ahead and rolled for that first down. And the official on the far side was all over it.
1st and 10, 7:03 to go in the half. You're
Mark it
watching
down.
the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week. It's the Battle of the Rams, Badin versus Ross.
That's one you want back, right? 2nd and 26. You got a chance to get off the field, and they convert the first down. That's a tough field.
Aiden Brown looking like he was thinking about passing as he rolled out to his right and worked forward past the line of scrimmage, a gain of 2 before being pushed out of play. 2nd and 8.
Number 44, Bryson Bastin.
He was brought down by Bryson Bastin, and that was one of the few guys that you brought up in game day. Bryson Bastin, Josh Potts, 2 linebackers, the pride of this team.
Bryson Bastin has over 200 tackles in his career here at Ross, and to do that at the linebacker level, you know, that speaks volumes on the talent, but also just the motor of being around the ball all the time.
Ritzy getting it out to Carter Russo in the flats. It's a screenplay for the running back. He's brought down at the 12-yard line, being brought down by Hansel. It's a first down for the Badin Rams.
You can see all of the different pieces that make Badin the #1 team in the state right now, right? They have so many weapons that if the ball is thrown on time, and right now that's what Fitzy's been doing. Like if that ball's thrown in rhythm, that's a lot of room for your guy to make a play. If that's behind your receiver, all the momentum stops and you get tackled behind the line. So that starts with a good throw, and then your athletes do the rest.
Here's Ritzy taking it himself, fake the handoff to Russo. He's going to be brought down by 3 or 4 Rams. And that's one thing you can say about this Ross defense. They're swarming to the ball.
Yes, absolutely. And there's the difference I talked about on the last play from Ross. The Badin quarterback there goes down, 5 guys run over to get him up. It's just the body language that's so different around these two teams right now.
2nd down and 6, 5:19 to go in front of this capacity crowd at Robinson Field. Reed Mouse on the call with Tony Pike, Paul Fritchner on the keys. We're up here at the barn at Robinson Field, one of the more unique press boxes in all of Southwest Ohio. Small school feel. That's the first thing you said when you came to the ball field today. You said it feels like Reading.
That's right. That's a good thing.
Aiden Brown taking it himself, fakes the handoff, spin moving out at the 4-yard line. He's trying to bully himself to the 1. Ross not having it. They push him back. It's going to be 1st and goal out at the 2-yard line.
You got the feel Badin is really going to try to get Aiden Brown into the end zone tonight.
As he marches off the field, Aiden Brown, his mom was inducted into Badin's Hall of Fame. A graduate in the late 90s as she went to the University of North Carolina, Charlotte to play soccer. His dad was also a Badin grad, a basketball player in the mid-90s. Some say one of the better basketball players to ever roll through, McKay Jim. The handoff to Carter Russo. He shakes, but he doesn't bake as he's brought down in the backfield. Up there on the tackles, number 44, Bryson Bastin.
UNC Charlotte, home to one of my most hated college basketball players of all time, Diego Rivera, who every time he shot a 3 against University of Cincinnati would blow a kiss to the crowd. Hated it.
I'm in a tightly contested booth right now. It's basically a phone booth, and I've got one of Xavier's biggest proponents behind me, and Paul Fritchner, and Tony Pike, obviously for UC, as there's going to be a personal foul that's going to push Badin all the way back to the 20-yard line. 2nd and 20, 2nd and goal from the 20. The second personal foul called on Badin this game.
It looked like the ref had signaled 3rd down, Still saying second. But another opportunity for this Ross defense to find a way to get off the field because you caught a break.
Zach Yordi to Ritzy's right. 4 wide, 3 to the right side of the field. And ball's at the middle. It's a flood play out to Ritzy's right. He finds his intended target, Quinn Brennan, out on the sideline. Catch, pass complete. It's 3rd and goal now.
It's like another flag down right around the 10-yard line.
So beyond the play, they're going to say holding on either the offense or the defense.
From where the flag was thrown that far down the field.
Unless he said Quinn Brennan
looks like
pushed
Ross
off.
is backing up. It's such good timing on that pass too. To be able to make that throw on a comeback as the receiver's coming out of his break. You've got to get your lower body ready. You've got to accelerate through the throw. And to be able to do that on a timing, a bang-bang type of route is a really impressive throw.
So it's going to be 1st and goal after the defensive holding call on Ross. Didn't see who the flag was on. But it will be 1st and goal, and the Zebras are going to talk this one over.
So now 3rd down.
So it is no penalty, I assume, on the play there, because now it's 3rd and goal, pretty much from where Quinn Brennan went out. So they negated the penalty. So it's going to be 3rd and goal.
If you're Badin here, you're thinking you got 2 chances to get in the end zone.
So Zach Yordi to the left of Alex Ritzy. Aiden Brown on the short side, or the long side of the field. 3 wide. Ritzy dropping back, rolling out to his left. He's looking for B. Moore. That's a touchdown for Sticks. 20-0 with 3:40 to go in the half, and Badin up big in this rivalry game.
Too easy. That's too easy there to have a player the caliber of Braden Moore just run a flat route and have no one within 5 yards of him. That's a disappointing and really a heartbreaking blow for Ross that time, who had a 2nd and 26 at one point, and then a 2nd and goal from the 20, and Badin converts both to go up by 3 scores.
A 25-yard screen play and a 17-yard out route, I guess. Gets Badin to move away from those sticks. So now we're going to see the kicker. Number 88, Nicholas Warner, a junior.
Ooh.
Kick is off the uprights. So we'll stay 20-0, 3:54 to go in the half. How are our Blue Devils doing?
I'm waiting for an update. I just saw Luke Fickle and Zach Taylor both on the sideline of St. X and Moeller tonight.
I thought you were going to say Reading, Wyoming. And I said,
well,
C.J. Hester's that big of a name.
They probably stopped there first and then moved on to the Moeller St. X game.
I believe we're going to be seeing some GCL South action next week for the game of the week. Back at your old stomping grounds. More about that later on in the week.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that Reading's athletic department hasn't updated their Twitter feed yet.
I think you know that answer already. The Ram side, or the Ross Ram side of the field. Their herd is in a blackout, while Badin's side of the field is in a whiteout.
It's like they work together
I can promise you that didn't happen. Now, I've made a big deal about this rivalry through the passes. This one gets through Schmidt's hands. He then fields it out at the 5. He's trying to work through, breaks 1 tackle, make it 2. If he can outbeat the tackler from behind, he cannot, as he's brought down at the 50. number 21, Carson Cheek, on the chase. And it was Ashlyn Schmidt, the sophomore, breaking a tackle and working his way all the way to the 50, giving Ross their best field position of the ball game.
That's what you needed, right?
Yeah.
You're down 3 scores. You got to find some spark before the half. Badin got the ball first, so if you can go down, take this clock down, and get a touchdown, you feel like you're right back in it.
So they hand the ball off to Jay Warren. He gets a gain of a yard, maybe 2. Warren's been a big part of this offense for years now. Dating all the way back to that team that just came up short in the regional championship against Alter 2 seasons ago. Warren was the guy, a lot of speed. He was the guy he did some trickery with.
Yeah, a little change of pace from just the downhill bruiser. And again, Badin has so many of those types of players where all they need is a seam and they're going to make something special happen.
So the handoff to Ashlyn Schmidt's going to be brought down. He couldn't find the seam. Number 16 on the tackle, that's Reese Anzalone. Reese Anzalone, nice ball player. He got an offer to a Division III school. You want to take a guess what school that was?
Couldn't tell you.
The Beavers from Bluffton.
Wow. A storied program.
Yes.
Up in Bluffton.
Yes.
So you get the return to the 50, you gain a little momentum, and you've gone nowhere in 2 snaps. Now if you're Badin, you're saying, okay, get a stop here, let's try to go get one more before the half.
Well, that's the big thing about this Ross team. They've got to stay ahead of schedule, right? And they're not doing that to this point. Jay Warren's dropping back. Actually, it's Riley Caldwell. He's going to scramble out, but a nice tackle by Drew Inninger, getting off the block and bringing down Caldwell at the line of scrimmage before he can break 3. And I don't know if Ross is going to punt here. It seems like they should. But to be fair, they've given Badin better field position than this every possession thus far.
You almost thought for a split second they were just trying to invite the defensive ends up the field and then get some room, because that's what Ross wants. They want to create one-on-one matchups, and everything to this point, Badin has just had 2 or 3 guys at every spot. So if you're Ross, you feel good about the fact that if you get a one-on-one in space, you're going to win that battle. Badin has done a great job of not allowing that to happen.
So Badin's going to use their first timeout of the game. 1:46 on the clock in the half. It's 20-0. Ross, not many first downs in this first half.
First play of the game.
First play of the game.
You thought, okay, they might have something here.
Since then, it's been very quiet, and I mentioned this just a few moments ago, but it's so important for teams that run this style of offense to, stay ahead of schedule. Get 2 yards on first down, get a couple yards on third down. You don't want to be looking at 3rd and 10. You're going to be looking at 3rd and short.
Yeah, that's how you dictate you impose your style on the defense, because if they were to get 5-6 yards on that 3rd down, now everything's in play if you want to go for it on 4th down. If you get 3 on 1st down, 2nd and 7, 3 more, 3rd and 4, that's the type of game Ross needs to play. It doesn't always have to be the huge game, but when you're in 3rd and 10 and 4th and 10 consistently, and this is your style of offense, it's going to be an uphill battle.
4th and 10. And Ross is bringing out their punting units.
I think that's the right move. Try to force Badin to have to go a further length of the field.
As Badin has to rush off their defense.
Let's take another timeout.
Coach Yordi going ballistic on the sideline.
I think if Ross would have snapped that, there would have been 12 on the field. That's why Coach was rushing to get that timeout in, because a 4th and 5, you're probably sending the offense back out there.
Of course.
I've seen Lakota West up 10-0 on Princeton right now. Moeller 6-3 over St. Xavier.
I hear DJ E-Train running the tracks over here at our Chatterbox Game Day experience, sponsored by Jake Sweeney. I hope I can talk with E-Train after today.
Yeah.
I kind of got into the
Yeah, I mean, he started the pick segment with his arm around you and buddied up, and if you hear this song right here, long neck, ice cold beer, never broke my heart.
Yeah.
I feel like you broke E-Train's heart a little bit tonight.
He called me pumpkin on Instagram.
Yeah. Now E-Train, it's a risky move. He showed up tonight in an Alan Jackson shirt.
He did.
And yet I have not heard an Alan Jackson song yet. Chattahoochee? Maybe? Get something?
Those will come later.
This place was electric.
It was.
Before the game tonight.
The herd was great. Golden Megaphone School. OHSAA's award for the great student sections. Misfielded, but then brought down. It's loose. Badin swarming the ball. There to initially field the ball was number 21, Carson Cheek. I think it was Aiden Brown that got on top of it.
I believe you had told the herd that would be the loudest they could cheer all night.
I haven't heard him a whole lot.
Was that your words or was that?
Well, listen.
Paul said
the
that?
read that gets up on the stage.
Yeah, it's like a different.
Right.
It's like a split personality.
Right.
Okay. I get it.
When I get in the booth, I'm nothing but professional.
Yeah.
When I get down there, you got to play it up. Got to play the part a little bit.
Right. You're like dual Kirk Herbstreets right now.
Right.
Because he won't give a pick on game day for the game he's calling, but you can just transform into a different role.
Right.
Unbelievable.
That's
what separates you.
Right. That's what the best in this biz do. They play the part.
No, I get
when
it.
it needs to be played.
Yeah, I get it.
Flag on the play against the Badin team. 10-yard penalty. They'll take over first.
1:38 to go in the half. Badin taking over inside their own 10-yard line. Yes. 20-0 our score. Alex Ritzy, Carter Russo to his left. 4 wide. The handoff to Russo. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage. I imagine Badin's not going to be in any hurry here. They've got one timeout left to use. I don't think they're going to be trying to capitalize on a score before halftime.
I think they're going to take what the defense gives. If they're going to keep 2 high safeties back, try to run the ball and break one. If it's 1 high, it's very simple. If it's off coverage, take the hitch. If not, push the ball down the field. But it's one of the craziest things in football. It's always frustrated me at times when coaches just go away from what's working. If a team is going to give you 8 yards cushion, run a 5-yard hitch all the way down the field, and that's what Badin's done tonight. They're taking every single thing that's been given to them.
And there's the handoff to Carter Russo, tiptoeing in the secondary and pushing over the Ross defensive back. Out there on the tackle, number 24, that's Josh Botts, the linebacker.
Now you start working to go a little bit faster.
It was that big run by Russo that opened up the playbook. Ritzy rolling out to his right. He's looking downfield. There's going to be a flag thrown. Braden Moore wide open. Catches it at the 40. This is going to be brought back.
To number 11, Braden Moore, but we have a flag on the play.
Ritzy's efficiency at this point in the game, we don't have the complete stats in front of us.
Yeah, he's been great.
I don't know if he's thrown an incomplete pass yet.
Frustrated here because that was a great pass. He took a pretty low hit trying to walk it off, and it's all for naught as it's going to come back for a holding call.
So with 34 seconds left and the hold, you might see one more play from Badin, maybe a screen play, something up their sleeve to see if they can get a big chunk play. But if that doesn't work, they're probably just going to let the clock run out. And yeah, they're going to do just that. No rush to the line once the clock starts back up. 4 wide. Russo to his left. Ritzy doesn't look like in any rush at all. 20 seconds on the clock. They'll take it. Hand the ball off to number 1. He'll be brought down a 3-yard carry. And that'll be the final play of the half. Under 10 seconds to go in the half. They'll let it tick off as both teams start marching towards the sideline. 20-0 our score at halftime. It's the Battle of the Rams. Reed Mouse on the call with Tony Pike, Paul Fritzger, our producer. Stay tuned. You're watching the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week on Chatterbox Live.
In the heart of Hamilton, Ohio, Revive Salon's clients continuously leave satisfied. Our experienced stylists offer modern color services and treatment for your hair needs. Located at 142 Riverfront Plaza, come in and check us out today, or book your appointment at revivesalon.com.
I'm up. Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't tell me you were getting McDonald's.
The steak, egg, and cheese bagel is back at McDonald's. Order ahead on the app and pick up curbside.
Check out our fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore.
We're not feeding down there.
end zone. He's got Simpkins caught in for the touchdown. Deshaun Simpkins with the snag.
Looking left to Sims Marshall. Home run down for Jalen Marshall. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Ross, Ohio, home of the DJ Eddie Trainer, DJ E-Train. I'm Reed Mouse, joined along here with Tony Pike. It's 20-0 in this battle of the Rams, and Ross is geared up to return the kick. Tony, it wasn't going well for the Ross offense in the first half. If they want to get back in this, what do they got to do?
Let's start with the body language, the energy.
Sure.
The energy that you just started the half with is more than what we've seen from this Ross team in the second quarter. They've got to be a little more sense of urgency with their offense. You can still run your offense at 20-0, but maybe a little more sense of urgency. But the biggest thing, they've got to start seeing some good things happen. They got to get a couple first downs, put that together, and see if you can't start chipping away at this. You've shown the ability to get stops defensively, not consistently, but if you get a score, you at least put the pressure back on Badin.
Rowan Brown's kick is up, fielded out at the 2-yard line by Ross. Schmidt got it, kicking in an extra gear, hops over a would-be tackler, then being brought down at the 25-yard line, and that's where Ross is going to take over. And you mentioned the Ross defense showing that they have got a couple stops. The biggest thing is they keep giving Badin just great field position.
Yeah, the special teams battle has been extremely one-sided, even though Badin has a missed extra point that went off the left upright. But you've got to change the field position, and let's be honest, you've got to go down and find a way to get 6 points within this first or second drive of the half, just based on the offensive style that you play with.
I formation for this Ross team, 2 to the short side of the field, ball starting at the 25-yard line. Caldwell under center, hand the ball off to Jay Warren. He's got an edge. 8-yard carry for the Ross Rams. A second half starting similar to what we saw in the first, an 8-yard carry on their first offensive play.
Doesn't need to be 8 every time, but 4 or 5 yards is success for this Ross offense. And then, as you're seeing, a little less time in the huddle there, picking up the tempo just a little bit, still running your offense.
There's that I formation again. Imes, the tight end, to the right side, bunch side of the field, 2 wide. There's the handoff to Warren. He's tripped up in the backfield. I think it might have been Caden Starks, the linebacker, that got in on that play.
You mentioned Ryan Imes there. What a great red zone target that he's been, but you have to call his name tonight. And you just wonder if maybe finding him on an easy completion would help this offense to take a little pressure off the running game and at the same time get you a little confidence in your quarterback.
Imes, a great wrestler for this proud Ross wrestling tradition. He went to state last year. 3 wide for the Rams. A handoff right up the chute. It's going to be a first down. The fullback bulldozing his way to move the chains. That's Bryson Bastin. And you saw, one key of this offense, this triple option offense. Look how close that fullback is to the QB. He's 1.5 yards behind him.
It's just such a quick read and a quick hit style. I can tell you, if Imes were to just shoot right down the middle here, I think they would have something there out of the tight end position.
Well, they had something with Riley Caldwell as he breaks through not 1 but 2 tacklers, tripping his way to move the chains. They're out at midfield.
We've seen this a couple times, that Ross has gotten to this part of the field and things have just stalled out. They've got to now take the next step. You've got some positive momentum going. Continue to build off that.
1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. Clock ticking. 3 wide, under center, Caldwell again. Bastin to his rear. Bastin lead blocking for Caldwell. He shakes off one would-be tackler. He does such a good job at just spinning away from contact.
Makes that first guy miss. The problem is Badin has been so good with their technique of swarming the ball and tracking the ball carrier down that it's really hard to go side to side against this Badin defense. You've got to get north and south, and the longer you can string those plays out, the more can join the party and make that tackle.
Joe Schlager, the defensive coordinator for the Badin Rams, running his patented 4-4 defense. He's been here for a while. Hands off.
Ball's out.
Ball is out. It's looking like it might be Badin ball the other way. We'll see what the refs officially call as both teams march off the field. They will say it's Badin ball. So Ross, after getting a couple of first downs, cough one up.
Yeah, you mentioned the distance between that fullback and the quarterback. That means if there's any little bit of bobble, if there's any little bit of an exchange that doesn't go clean, and then you get hit right away, it's tough to secure that ball. That time it pops out. And just when you start to feel like Ross had a little momentum going, a huge play, and it sets up Badin with great field position again.
You talk to Coach Cummins, and he says rule number 1 of running the triple option is you've got to take care of the ball. Rule number 2 when running the triple option is taking care of the ball. You can't cough it up when you're shortening the game. 4 wide for the Badin Rams. They take over at the 50. Ritzy wants it all on the first play, and he finds Aiden Brown, who's tackled just as he catches it. What a snag by the junior.
I'll tell you what, that's great coverage as well. That's just a better throw and a better catch. The defender was in perfect position. He just goes up, Aiden Brown high points the ball, and then he's strong enough to bring that down as the contact happened with the ground and keep the catch.
For the life of me, I cannot remember an incomplete pass on this Badin offensive side of the ball. The handoff up the chute goes nowhere. It's going to be 2nd and long, 2nd and 9.
And I think for the most part, Ross has done a good job against the run tonight. There's been a couple different gash plays, but it's been through the air where Badin has had the most success against this Ross defense.
And that was the MO of this Ross team a few years ago, is they're really good up front defensively, but if you really test them in that secondary, that's where they start giving up the big points. And that's something that actively Coach Cummins and his staff has worked to patch up the pieces, but it's working well for Badin tonight. Ritzy escaping 1 sack, but then coming on top of the second. He loses the ball in the process. Badin quickly gets on top of it. It's going to be 3rd and 14.
You've seen just a couple problems. The timing for Ritzy has been great on those on-the-run throws, but you've seen a couple holding penalties. That time penetration as he goes left, it's just not been as clean when they try to move the pocket as it has with Ritzy in the pocket.
3rd and 15.
If you're Badin here and if you're Alex Ritzy, you don't have to get 15 back here. If you get 7-8 yards, you at least give yourself a chance to convert a 4th down at this part of the field.
Well, this Badin squad is emptying the backfield. Ritzy alone, 5 wide, 3 to the open side of the field. Ref stopping this play. Braden Moore is bleeding, so they're going to ask him to leave the field. And coming in his stead is number 21, Carson Cheek, the son of the strength and conditioning coach at Badin. So here's Ritzy again. Lone in the backfield, Aiden Brown replacing the place that B. Moore once took. Ritzy's looking deep, he's wanting the end zone. Quinn Brennan catches it, was he in? Incomplete pass, says the sideline judge. And it's 4th and long, here comes out the Badin punt team. Maybe not. Interesting call if you were going to go for it, because why wouldn't you go halfway?
Yeah, try to get a little bit of it back that time, just a little bit too greedy. It's going to bring out the punt team. But again, if you're that Ross defense, a successful stand backed up with really good starting field position by this Badin offense.
Reese Anzalone back to punt, his heels in the middle of that Ross Rams head.
I think if you're Badin at this point, you just don't want to do anything that's going to change momentum rapidly. You're going to make them, if they're going to go, okay, you got to go the length of the field against us.
In control of the game, don't lose it, as that punt was almost blocked. You hear the oohs from the crowd. Can they pin them at the 1? The heels, they will down it. as a touchback. So it is in the end zone. And Ross will take over with 6:51 to go in the third quarter, down 3 scores. It's go time for this Ross offense.
Yeah, now it feels like, just if you start doing the math, that you've got to make something happen on this drive. It's a really good Badin offense. I don't think the Ross defense has played terribly tonight. They've given up some plays. They've tried to keep everything in front of them. You've got to get some help from the offense at some point.
Here's a power pistol formation. Caldwell shaking his way out wide, trying to get past a couple defenders, reversing to the other side of the field. He's still alive, coming down eventually at the 32-yard line. Riley Caldwell ran about 40 yards but gained 7.
Number 15, Riley Caldwell, brought down by number
Again, Badin is just setting the edge so well that on that option look, that true read option from a shotgun, if you can't set the edge, that edge player can essentially play both, and that's what's causing the problems for Ross offensively.
Tight end to the right side of the line for Ross. Here's the handoff. Brought down just beyond the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and short.
Number 3, Emily.
Big play here.
Yeah, more of a straight power running game there from Ross, where they're just going to turn around, ISO, try to get up the middle. This is now, again, you don't want to say 4-down territory, but you've mentioned the field position battle all night. You might just think, if you're Ross here, you've got 2 to get to, and you've got to get this converted and move the sticks.
Flex formation at tight end to the left side of the line. Send a man in motion, trying to get a draw off sides, and they do just that. It was number 75 on the Badin line, Ethan Kent, the sophomore defensive line.
And you see he's going to hear about it as well as he runs over to the sideline, taken out of the game immediately.
Kent's not a usual suspect on that defensive line. They brought him in to clog up some holes. 6'1", 275 pounds. They go back to their usual defensive front. Here's the handoff, the mesh point. That
ball's out again.
Ball goes on the ground. We'll see who comes up with it. No one pointing either way. Badin does come up with the ball. Back-to-back drives when Ross cuffs up the pigskin.
Look, from the quarterback position, you've got to make a decision. You have to either give the ball or you've got to pull it. That time you get caught in no man's land and make it a really tough situation to read out of.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line, and that mesh point was just held on too long. Ritzy marching out there.
Got to feel like you've been playing with fire so much if you're this Ross team. You can't keep giving Badin these opportunities.
Here's that Wildcat formation. A.B. Aiden Brown hand the ball off to B. Moore on the end around. B. Moore 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, trying to get back to where they started. It's a loss of 3.
And number 11, Braden Moore with a loss on the play.
So the first time we've seen that exact same motion and formation with B. Moore running behind Aiden Brown. First time it didn't work.
Looks like Braden Moore still down on the sideline as well, sitting up. But they're going to get an official timeout here to take a look.
You're not going to send a text to Fickle, are you?
The future Bearcat.
Right. Bearcats in a rivalry game tomorrow. Against Miami.
You know, our good friend Kyle Decker, I wonder if he's even listening at this point, but
I'm sure he's locked in.
You know, a very precarious situation for him as he's a Miami grad. And yet if you go down to historic Nippert Stadium,
it says Decker
you
everywhere,
see Decker stapled everywhere. You see Decker at all the UC functions. So you have to wonder, on a day like tomorrow, where's his allegiance?
It is so precarious that you go down to Nippert Stadium and you see a Miami grad with Decker plastered all over Nippert Stadium, and not one Pike thing anywhere.
Thank you.
No acknowledgement.
Hope Mr. Cunningham's listening in the athletic department tonight. I'm sure he is.
We'll take a short break as they attend to the injury on the far side of the field. Stay tuned. You're watching Chatterbox Live.
I'm up. Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't tell me you were getting McDonald's.
The steak, egg, and cheese bagel is back at McDonald's. Order ahead on the app and pick up curbside.
Check out our fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore.
JakeSweeney.com.
And we're back at Robinson Field.
And Ross, Ohio, still attending to Braden Moore. 20-0 our score. 4:49 to go in the third period.
Reed Mouse joined along here with Tony Pike, Paul Fritchner in the booth with us. Had to give Paul a breather this week. He was begging me just to take this game from him. I already gave Paul the Ross Coaches show that we do every week.
It's a big game for you.
Not for me. It's for Paul, really.
Oh.
He's the one heavily invested into this.
I gotcha.
But it's a big one out here. And you can tell by the crowd that we're seeing. It's Ross in their maroon and gold, and you see the black in the student section. Badin in their white across the field. But we'll give it one more time for our sponsors to get a shout out. So we'll be right back here on the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week.
Fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore.
JakeSweeney.com.
If your AC or furnace is struggling, turn to the experts at Bartels Heating and Cooling. Their certified technicians get the job done right the first time. And if you need a new unit, Bartels will give you upfront pricing with no hidden fees. Plus, ask about Bartels 0% interest financing for 60 months. Learn more at bartelsheatingandcooling.com. Bartels Heating and Cooling, for a comfortable way.
In the heart of Hamilton, Ohio, Revive Salon's clients continuously leave satisfied. Our experienced stylists offer modern color services and treatment for your hair needs. Located at 142 Riverfront Plaza, come in and check us out today, or book your appointment at revivesalon.biz.
And we're back, 2nd and 13. Under 5 minutes to play in the third. Badin with the ball. Alex Ritzy with Carter Russo to his right. Fakes the handoff, he's looking deep. Finds Aiden Brown near the first down marker. It's a gain of about 9. 3rd and 4 coming up.
Alex Ritzy's pass complete to number 29.
And the Ritzy-Brown connection has proved fruitful.
Senior Jack Hansel.
Really the first time we've seen that across the middle dig route connection. Everything else has kind of been to the sidelines for this Badin. And when you do that, you keep extending the defense side to side, and then you come back and hit the middle. Perhaps open some things up here on 3rd down for you.
Ross in their 3-3 stack defensively. Pass going out to Buckle. Buckle with a touchdown already in this one. Sheds off 2 tacklers before being brought down. Then tackled on the sideline. It's a first down for the Badin Rams.
And the pass was complete.
That's just the hard part right there, right? It's 3rd and 3, and you're just giving up way too much. 3rd and 3, you're just giving up way too much cushion on the outside. And when that happens on 3rd and 3, you're giving away a first down and allowing things to be too easy for Badin.
So Badin on the doorstep of another score, looking to go up 4. Already got a 20-0 lead, looking to make it 27. Ritzy hands the ball off to Russo. He's trying to find an edge, doesn't get it. A gain of not even a yard. It's 2nd and 9 as another Ross gang tackle stifles the Badin run game.
And again, the run game has been fantastic or the run stop for Ross has been fantastic. It's just been the outside the hash type throws that have given this Ross defense fits. And again, if you keep extending that way with this too high safety look, the middle of the field is going to be wide open.
Here's Ritzy, option play, this time to Zach Yordy, pitches it, a gain of a yard, pushed out a play, it's 3rd and 8. Badin's been good on the 3rd down conversions.
It is worth pointing out that over the break we did see Brayton Moore get up and walk to the bench.
Yes.
It's a good sign for both Badin and Cincinnati Bearcat faithful everywhere. 15 years in a row, Reed, the Bearcats have kept that victory bell in Clifton.
It's been ringing loud and proud in Clifton, not so much on the red brick of Oxford. There goes Ritzy rolling out against his body, looking for Austin Buckle. He doesn't catch it on the initial, bobbles it, then steps out of play before bringing it in. It's 4th and 9.
Another flag on a rollout. Again, the holding penalties, they've just put their tackles in some tough situations. Do you take this penalty here, or do you play 4th and 9?
It's up to you. I mean, you can have 3rd and 19. I think you probably take it, right? Although
looks like they're going to decline.
It's not like 3rd and long has been good for Ross to this point. Twice now they've had 3rd and goal from the 20, 3rd and 26 from the 50, and it's been a fresh set of downs both times.
Kicking this?
So outrunning out there is the Badin field goal unit. Rowan Brown, the sophomore. Ritzy, the holder. Ross not buying it. Waiting for the fake as this is up. It has a lot of error, but not enough leg as the field goal does not go through the uprights, and it's going to be Ross Rams' ball.
Another good hold. I think if you're Badin, you're trying to get that work in case you need it at some point. You feel good about your defense to this point that you can try that. But at some point this season, you may need a big field goal. You try to get some in-game experience. It doesn't work out for you. It's got to be frustrating on the Badin sideline right now because every time they've gotten something going, a penalty has brought it right back and just stalled that momentum. And a lot of missed opportunities left out there for Badin tonight.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Shaking his way at the line of scrimmage, then moving forward is Riley Caldwell taking it himself. And you know, it goes so often forgotten, especially at the high school level, but special teams is such a utility, especially...
It's a weapon.
Right. And, you know, in high school football, if you have a kicker that can kick a 45-yard field goal...
Oh, it's huge.
It puts you in so many positions to win a game. And a punter to boot.
As opposed to the other side where it could be a big detriment for you.
There's several high school teams that don't even trust their kicker for a PAT. Caldwell, way behind the line of scrimmage, then moving off to the left. They're dropping back to pass, but have yet to air one out. So Caldwell getting back to the line of scrimmage.
Just feels like trying to drop back to create more room that he can get that one-on-one in the open field that he's not been able to get at any point. And you get a flag.
Yeah, way behind the line of scrimmage. So it's going to back Ross all the way up to the 5-yard line. They need to get all the way to the 30. I don't know a lot about Ross's playbook. But I don't know many playbooks that have the 25-yard play as a sand wedge in their bag. So 2nd and 25. In the power single back lineup. This is Riley Caldwell shaking past a couple defenders. He's so quick on the lateral movement.
He's so quick, but you credit Badin because every time he makes someone miss, someone else is right there. He's not had any room to breathe at all. And again, I mentioned it before, if you're Ross defensively, you don't feel like you've been terrible. 20 points through 3 quarters against a really good team really good offense, and Badin should at least make you feel like you're going into the fourth quarter in the game. It's just the offense has not been able to find any type of consistency and any rhythm over the course of this first 3 quarters.
So a timeout's going to be called on 3rd and long. And it's funny you mentioned that. Last year, these two teams met on a Saturday at Edgewood, Kumler Field, and it was a 21-10 game. And that was the closest game that Badin played all season long against, a 6-7 win Ross team. Just showing that, rivalry games are worth a couple points.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the rivalry aspect of that, Reed, because when you get together in a rivalry game, you essentially just throw everything else out.
Including the record.
Correct. Unless you're Miami of Ohio.
No, you can't.
15 years running. 15 years. Tomorrow would give UC the first series lead since 1915. As the all-time series.
If I'm doing my math right, the last time that Miami won, there was a young quarterback at UC.
Not at the helm, but a young scout team quarterback who won that week as well because he just torched the defense the same way Josh Betts did in that game. 49-49-7. All-time record. Tomorrow would mark the first time since 1915 that the Bearcats could take over the overall lead. And it's been a kind of a weird week. Like Luke Fickell made comments about Miami not allowing them to bring recruits on the sideline. Chuck Martin commented on Ivan Pace, who, as Chuck Martin says, wasn't good enough for UC coming out of high school, and now he is. There's been a little bit of fire going back and forth.
You gotta love the chirpiness in the rivalry.
You gotta ignite something when it's been 15 years.
So 3rd and 20 for this Ross team. An option play goes nowhere, brought down at the 10-yard line, and Ross is going to have to come out to punt.
Just think of the opportunities in this quarter alone that Ross has been given offensively and just can't find anything going.
Well, that is the end of the 3rd period. We're heading to the final act of this one. 20-0, the Badin Rams on top of the Battle of the Rams.
Our fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore.
If your AC or furnace is struggling, turn to the experts at Bartels Heating and Cooling. Their certified technicians get the job done right the first time. And if you need a new unit, Bartels will give you upfront pricing with no hidden fees. Plus, ask about Bartels 0% interest financing for 60 months. Learn more at bartelsheatingandcooling.com. Bartels Heating and Cooling, for a comfortable way of
We're back here at Robinson Field, 20-0 our score. We're headed to the final act of this one. Reed Mouster along here with Tony Pike and with Paul Frischner tickling the keys behind us. The Ross Rams are geared up to punt on this 4th and 20. Snaps high, but fielded well. Punt is off, fielded out at the 38-yard line by Braden Moore, who's back into the game. Seems interesting that a guy dealing with an injury, you'd put him on a punt return play.
He just doesn't seem fully healthy. He's limping around a little bit right now. 20-0, but it feels like it's almost 40 the way Ross runs their offense. I wonder if maybe you get him out of the game just to be safe. You're planning on playing well into the season, well into the playoffs. He's going to be a big part of your success as the season goes forward.
1st and 10, 31-yard line. And you mentioned Braden Moore. He was a great defensive player and continues to be a great defensive player. That's what he'll play at the next level. But just the athlete that he is, they need to get him introduced into this offense, as they do right there on the play out in the flat. Screen play works good for a first down.
I just can't reiterate enough how important it is to put that throw on stride to the receiver so that he can catch and continue his momentum and not stop it. That's what allows the offense to flank and outflank the defense on those plays.
So he did step out before they could move the change. So second and short, trips to the open side of the field. The handoff to Carter Russo would be good for a first down as they break it inside the 20. It's a red zone. 11:15 to go here in the fourth quarter.
It's weird, you just don't feel in sports that 20 is that big of a margin, but it just feels so much bigger the way Badin has controlled much of this game.
No, in an Anderson-Princeton game, 20 points is not the same as a
that's
Ross
30
Rams football
minutes.
game. Be like 20 points to the Bears as compared to the Buffalo Bills.
Correct.
Alex Ritzy, draw play, working his way, shaking off a tackler before being gang tackled. A gain of 5 yards for the QB. And one thing that Ritzy, he throws a great ball, but they do miss quite a bit of speed from Landon Vitterick, the quarterback a season ago, who is an athlete at your alma mater.
You don't need to be 4-4, but I think Ritzy's shown enough that there's the threat. You just don't want to have no threat to where you can commit everyone else to the run. By doing this, by pulling 3 or 4 of those a game, you at least show that there's a threat to run, and it keeps that defensive end honest.
2nd and 5. Pass on out to Aiden Brown. He gets around one would-be tackler before being brought down inside the 10. It's going to be 1st and goal.
Again, though, just right in stride, the accuracy phenomenal, gives the receiver a chance to hit that seam and make a lot more out of it.
Bring up Landon Vitterick, the quarterback from a season ago. He's a baseball player at the University of Cincinnati.
Coach Guggens doing big things with the Bearcat baseball program.
One of 3 Badin Rams that played for that, to be on that roster.
Storied roster.
Kevin Euclid.
Yes. Josh Harrison.
Lance Durham.
Ian Happ, noted Reds killer.
Yeah, there you go. Hand off to Carter Russo. No gain, and they continue to swallow up the run plays. Up the middle, Aiden's getting nothing, and they're going to usher Josh Hansel off the field. Telling him to come off. And in his stead will be Riley Caldwell going out there in the secondary. So 2nd and goal from the 5. Badin can add on. Ritzy's going to keep it himself, tosses it up to Braden Moore. And what about that? A hat trick for Sticks. 26-0, 9:06 to go in the ball game.
Flag down. I don't know. We've seen more holdings tonight by this Badin offense than I've seen in quite a long time in a one-game span. It's been every time they've moved the pocket. Essentially, it's outside of maybe 2 different times. Every time the pocket has been moved, someone on that offensive line is being charged with holding.
Something they'll certainly look to clean up.
It's always better to clean those up after a win than it is a loss.
Number 1, Jack Hansel coming back on the field. And they're telling him to leave once again. I don't know what's going on with number 1.
You wonder at that point if that's something the ref has deemed maybe concussion or something along those lines to look at furthermore than just, hey, he's got a cut or something like that.
I was wondering if he was ejected from the game for some reason. Ritzy alone in the backfield. He's looking to his right. Gets rid of it, looking for Quinn Brennan on the turf. Not a complete pass. Just too low. And we'll do it from third and goal from the 13.
I think that's the first time we've talked about a pass being offline. We've seen a drop. That might be the first pass offline on the Badin side of things, and he's frustrated because he had him on that one. That's a touchdown if that ball's 1 or 2 yards higher.
You know, we just went through the pantheon of famous UC Bearcat baseball players. We didn't even name the most famous, Sandy Koufax.
The old lefty.
Greatest living pitcher, as there's going to be a timeout called by Ross on this 3rd and 13. 9 minutes to go. We're going to step away for a breather. It's 20-0 here on the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week.
I'm up. Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't tell me you were getting McDonald's.
The steak, egg, and cheese bagel is back at McDonald's. Order ahead on the app and pick up curbside.
Check out our fresh arrivals at Jake Sweeney Used Cars. Over 250 used vehicles weekly. All makes, all models. From economy to luxury, Jake Sweeney, the original used car superstore. JakeSweeney.com.
We're back in Ross after the timeout called by Ross. It's the Battle of the Rams. You know, if you look through the entire state of Ohio, there can't be but more than a dozen or 2 dozen teams that have the mascot named the Rams. And here you are, 3 miles apart, a public and a private school, both choosing their mascot, the Rams. It's the Battle of the Horns. Ritzy rolling out to his right. It's a screenplay for Carter Russo, and they snuffed it out. Great play by Josh Botts. Read it like a book. And here comes out the kicking unit.
Fool me once. Not happening again. Again, another good job by Ross, though, to get down into that area. Again, albeit a penalty helped negate a touchdown. But they bow their backs there, and they hold Badin to a field goal attempt.
Here comes out Rowan Brown, 30-yard field goal attempt. 4th and goal from the 14. Snaps good, kick is up. It has enough, it's 23-0. So second time's the charm for the Badin kicking unit. Reed Mouse joined along here with the Red Hot Killer himself, Tony Pike.
Wow.
See, you always tell me I just bash on you. I lift you up more than I bash on you.
Yeah, you really do.
It's a give and take here, Tony.
For Ross tonight, there's not been much give.
Certainly.
Badin has taken a lot.
Certainly the case.
But you're essentially return the kick, 3 and out, quick touchdown, 3 and out. We got a ball game.
9 minutes left. This is the 19th meeting between these two programs. Badin currently holding the series advantage at 17-1. Nick Yorty, the head coach for the Badin Rams, back in the mid-90s, played a 10-0 Ross Rams team in the first round of the postseason. Badin won that game before going on to the state Final Four. So received by Riley Caldwell, and he was looking for blood.
That's the first time he's really got a full head of steam tonight with no one around him, and he certainly made an impact lowering the shoulder on that.
By no means was he looking to get around a would-be tackler. He was looking to deliver a blow, and he did. 1st and 10 as the Ross Rams take over from the 27-yard line.
You mentioned the resiliency early in the broadcast. When you move up a division, you lose a lot of players. Things just aren't going your way on the football field. This is what coach is trying to build. This point in the game, who's going to be the guys that are out there still battling, still going after it? And from that kickoff return, you check that box.
First handoff, swallowed up in the backfield. Both teams, this will be their final non-league opponent.
Number 16.
Both teams playing a 6-league conference. Badin in the GCL Co-Ed. Ross in the Southwest Ohio Conference. So they'll open up league play next week. Final tune-up. Ross looking to win another SWAC title. Won it 2 years ago. Edgewood looks mighty good. Riley Caldwell connecting with Emery Severance.
Nice there from Caldwell, though. Got the hips flipped, drove the ball. Nice catchable pass.
I think that might have been the first time we've seen a ball go up in the air.
Yeah.
It dropped back a few times, but it's not actually gone up. Under 8 minutes to play.
Just the body language right now from Ross. Just not what you want to see at this point.
4 wide for the Rams. Caldwell slips in the backfield before being brought down a yard behind the line of scrimmage and flip it to 4th down. And they just have not gotten much moving all night on the offensive side.
You got players kind of going back and forth at each other right now. Frustration setting in for this Ross offense. And rightfully so. They've struggled through most parts of tonight. And when they did get momentum going, the back-to-back fumbles, the turnovers, it just hasn't been their night offensively.
Kenyon Cummins took over a 1-9 Ross Rams team about a half-decade ago. Since then has had a team go win their first playoff game ever, go to a regional championship, and continuously fight for the Southwest Ohio Conference belt.
Ryan Caldwell, the next punt.
Caldwell's punt gets across midfield. Badin's going to take over at the 34-yard line.
A lot of good football being played tonight. Lakota West flexing that defensive muscle right now, 24-7 over Princeton, who is an offensive juggernaut through at least this point of the year. That game late in the 3rd, and St. X 10-6 over Moeller going into the 4th quarter in a GCL battle.
Tony, can I fess up? I want to be honest about something.
Oh, please.
In our pregame picks, when we were picking the Reading-Wyoming game, I had every intention in the world to pick Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I look up on our Jumbotron as Zach Yorty's looking to break free. First down for number 7. I look up on the board and Casey McAllister, our head producer here at Chatterbox Sports, put a Blue Devil underneath my name, and I said, I guess I gotta tiptoe my way into this one.
I was waiting for the punchline.
Well, I would have one geared up, ready to go.
It felt like you were waiting on it, and yet it didn't happen, which threw me off even more to wonder what truly Reed was up to.
Well, I like to get you off your kilter sometimes.
Correct.
Give you different reads. I feel like when I'm around you, I feel like a Florida defense. You know what I'm saying?
Just kind of coming from everywhere?
Right.
Yeah. Understandable.
1st and 10 from the 47. A handoff to Yorty once more. A gang tackle on the junior running back.
Number 7 is Zach Yorty with the carry.
A couple touchdowns a week ago. Badin to open their season 4-0, went up to Cleveland to play in week 1, came back and played Columbus DeSales, won that game. Played a very good Withrow team that won 9 games a season ago. And got another win last week against Roger Bacon.
Mike Blatt has built a nice program at Roger Bacon as well.
Well, it's nice when Corey Kiner comes through.
Yes, that helps.
So here's a handoff to Yorty, and here's this running game starting to get moving. Under 5 to play in here at Robinson Field.
This is what you want, though, from an offensive line standpoint, an offensive coordinator, a head coach. Late in the game, when you need to put one away, can you start playing a little more bully ball instead of the finesse passing game? Essentially, you don't want Ross to touch the ball again. You want to just take this all the way down, run this out, and get out of here with a nice win.
3rd and 1. Aiden Brown on the shovel pass, and he'll get past the chains, and here comes from the back judge.
Oh boy.
Flag thrown.
Oh boy. Don't say it.
We do have a flag on the play.
So this one will come back.
It has been a rough night for the offensive line of the Badin Rams.
Young team, and they replace almost that entire offensive line.
They've held up the in-pocket passes. I think they've held up great tonight. It's the out-of-pocket where that tackle's really got to reach to keep that defensive end from gaining any penetration. That's where they've struggled.
3rd and 11. Trips way wide to the open side. There's that screen play again, this time to Zach Yorty. He's got a lot of room. He's out in the open. Can they stop him? They bring him down at the 28-yard line.
That play read so well by Ross, just not able to make a play on the ball. 2 defenders actually run into each other. And another big play. How many times have we said that tonight? 2nd and long or 3rd and long, where Badin has converted and moved the sticks.
It seems like every time they've had a major setback,
The next play has been a
Sure.
big game.
Sure.
And to me, from the press box, that signals a let off of the gas on those long distance plays.
Yeah, almost like you take a breath and think you're okay, we're safe at least for this series. And credit Badin for converting a lot of plays that coaches don't usually have in the playbook.
So they start in pistol formation. Yorty takes a step to his right before taking a handoff from Ritzy at the gun. It's a gain of 5. 2nd and 5
for the Badin Rams.
Just a few ticks above 3 minutes to play.
This is a tough feeling. Nothing worse for a defense when an offense is just able to kind of do this, take their time, and essentially try to run the clock out on you.
So Ritzy will snap the ball at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They're going to get every ounce of this play clock. And there's the handoff to number 7, Yorty. Another flag thrown, this time on the right tackle for the Badin Rams. Number 64, Drew Vach.
Tell you what, they have something in Yorty as well. He's got an explosiveness and a power and a shiftiness to him that he's going to be the next in a very long line of successful Badin Ram skill players.
His dad, obviously the coach. His dad holds the Badin record for touchdowns in a game, 5. Nick Yorty went on to play football at Thomas More University.
A Saint. I'd like an official word of how many holding penalties we've seen tonight.
You wouldn't hold your breath on anything official. 2nd
well
and
done.
long.
Well done.
So a loss of 2 on the shovel pass to Aiden Brown. So here is where the Ross defense has broken down on these 3rd and long plays as we're seeing ahead of us. It's 3rd and 18.
One of those weird feelings if you're Badin, you go to watch this film, and yes, you're happy with the win, but you're rated the top team in the state. There's been way too many penalties at that level.
And timeout called by the West.
It's frustrating, to say the least, for this offense. And again, at least you know how to maybe attack it, because it's been everything that's gone sideline to sideline. That's where your problems have come.
So I brought up earlier in the broadcast, Badin's regular season record all the way since 2019. And just for a recap, week 1 that year, they lost to Ross for the first time in program history. Week 2, they turn around and lose to Talawanda for the first time in program history. They were running a run attack, a wing tee of sorts, and they shifted their offense to the spread of what you see before you. And since that transition, 26-1 in the regular season.
Again, to do that, the high school level, when you lose players and you've got to reload, and I go back to Luke Fickle since he's gotten to Cincinnati. He says, we want to be a top 10 program, not a top 10 team. There's a lot of teams that year in and year out come and go and pop into the top 25, and then they graduate a lot of guys, and then they're gone. And then there's the Alabamas and the Ohio States and Georgias who just reload. And that's what Badin has been able to do so effectively that puts them in this situation each and every year.
Thank you.
The lighters have come out over on the Badin side of the field, and here's a handoff right up the rip to Zach Yorty as he gets into the secondary, a gain of 17 yards where he'll be just short of the first down. He's brought down by Riley Caldwell. It'll be 4th and 1. And we're under a minute to play now in this one. We'll see if Badin goes for it, kicks a field goal.
You could say this is the ball game.
Certainly. So it looks like they will attempt to go for it on 4th and short. You're kind of put in a pickle here as a coach. You don't want to run up the score or anything like that. But you don't have a whole lot of options. It's kick the field goal or try to end the game and get a first down.
You want to get 2 yards and let the clock run out.
They hand the ball off to Yorty. He'll get the first down, and that'll be the end of the game. They'll wait for the chains.
No holding penalty.
Injury on the field as well. But the chains will move, and they'll start that clock. And there we go, 23-0, our final out here at Robinson Field. Badin got on top early, never looked back. Their defense never budged. And Badin wins the 19th meeting between these two programs, go up 18-1 all time in the series.
Extremely impressed with Alex Ritchie tonight and what he is capable of growing into the rest of this season next year, and he's got a lot of weapons around him. They got to cut down on the penalties. They got to cut down on the drive stalling penalties because not every week you're going to convert 2nd, 3rd, and 20s. But this is a Badin team that has a very bright future, and it's a Ross team who's been in this moment before where a struggle to start, you rally the horses, and you finish out this season strong. And that's what they're going to try to do to make a run again this year.
Looking forward, Badin kind of alone in Division 3. Alter moved down to Division 4. Ross moves up to D2. So Division 3 is a little wide open. Ross, on the other hand, looking to make the Division 2 postseason and looking to make a run at a SWAC championship. That starts next week. But 23-0, our final score out here. This has been the Bartels Heating and Cooling Game of the Week. I'm Reed Mouse. I was joined along here with Tony. Tony, always nice getting in the booth with you. For Paul Fritchner on the keys and for everyone out here at Chatterbox Sports that made this day possible, we thank you for watching and good night.